More than 50 years after a devastating house fire took the lives of 6 people from the very same family, there are still questions over what really happened.
In tonight's New England's Unsolved, Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward tells us surviving family members believe the fire that killed their loved ones was set on purpose.
Such a horrific thing. I'd probably come out here at least once a week.
At Wildwood Cemetery in Wilmington, Susan McNamara visits her family's gravesite. This is where Susan's mother, Nancy, her 2 sisters, and 3 of her brothers are buried, all victims of a horrific house fire in 1969. 53 years after the deadly fire that destroyed her family, Susan says she has serious doubts about whether this fire truly was an accident. She tells me information has come to light that leads her to believe this was arson.
We've thought it was accidental, and then when you find out it wasn't accidental, you need closure.
Early in the morning of September 26, 1969, the entire Landers family, 10 of them, plus a cousin who recently moved into the Clark Street home, woke up as the house filled with smoke. Susan was 15. Her father picked her up and put her on a small ledge outside her window.
What do you remember from that night 50 years ago?
It was very dark. I don't recall seeing smoke or anything. I just remember being put out on that little ledge.
Susan did not see her mother or her sisters.
I recollect hearing them crying. I believe my mother was there also with them because that's where they were found. I had no idea that they didn't make it.
The Landers fire was long thought to have been an accident, blamed on an extension cord underneath the carpet. But in 2011, Janice Jaquith, Susan's sister-in-law, started looking into the fire.
I got a voice recorder and notebook, and I cold called people, firefighters, people I had never met before, to essentially say, you know that worst night of your life, may I talk to you about it?
Janice contacted investigators, including a former fire chief, who Janice says shared these investigative pictures.
Chief Bradbury said, see that? That's where they pulled the rug back, the extension cord, it's fine. It's not even charred, nothing. He looks at 2 pictures of the inverted V's of wallpaper, and he said, that's 2 points of ignition. That is the classic sign of arson.
If this was arson, who could possibly do something like this? The family says they have their suspicions. Susan tells me in 2012, a man approached her at her family's grave on the anniversary of the fire.
He said, well, I want you to know that I'm a Christian man now, and that I'm glad I saw your dad before he passed away because he gave me forgiveness. I said, my father did not give you forgiveness for anything.
But after all this time, there are no arrests, and the surviving members of the Landers family are hoping new information will surface about what really happened that awful night in Wilmington.
I keep thinking somebody knows something, and I wish they would come forward and say what they know.
It's just as important as every other case that's out there, whether it was last week or last year. Yeah. Doesn't matter if it was 50 years ago.
We reached out to the state police about this case. The Middlesex County DA's office tells us this remains an open investigation, and if you have any information, you're asked to give them a call. For New England's Unsolved, I'm Bob Ward for your local station, Boston 25.